For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
What is at stake in the question of a secret ballot for the vote of no confidence in the National Assembly?
Yes, I think that we haven't had this sort of thing arise before, and it's symptomatic of the level of disunity or disaffection within the ANC, and there is a sense that there are a lot of people who might well want to vote for a motion of no confidence in President Zuma, and they fear doing this openly because action will be taken against them, and that is why they're calling for a secret ballot. We know that there is this sentiment because already twice in the national executive of the ANC there have been motions of no confidence. They failed, but it gives you a sense that there is this unhappiness. Even in the national executive, people may fear to vote the way they want to vote. I mean, it doesn't mean that there's an ethical reason. People say vote with your conscience. It doesn't necessarily mean it's ethical reason for voting for it. It may just be that you believe that with Jacob Zuma there, your chances of being an MP again are lessened because people, a lot of the polls, or some of the polls showed that the local government losses that the ANC suffered were connected with people's unhappiness with the scandals surrounding the president. So in the normal course of events, in the period up till the rise of Jacob Zuma, people would fall into line with the party whip and the ANC leadership's decisions, and there was no call for special considerations, except in some very specific cases. In the early years of the Democratic Parliament, when they passed legislation for freedom of reproductive health, the right of women to decide to terminate pregnancy, some people who were part of the ANC caucus, I was there at the time, were religious Muslims or religious Catholics, and the decision taken was that they couldn't vote against it, but they could be absent on that day. And some were. But there was one case of Sister Bernadette Ngube, who is a Catholic, a nun, who actually stayed and voted in favor of freedom of reproductive health. But we did allow, because of issues of conscience, they were not issues against the ANC president or against the ANC per se, but there was an attempt to accommodate the private beliefs that people had, and they were not forced to vote for what they didn't agree with. At the same time, they were not allowed to vote against it because they had got into Parliament as ANC members according to the ANC policies, and the RDP included freedom to choose whether or not to terminate pregnancy. So the issue now is the Constitutional Court. It was taken to the Constitutional Court because the Speaker said she does not have the right to allow a secret ballot, and the court said that is not correct. She does have the right. She's not obliged to do so, but she has, as long as it's a rational decision, and taken in good faith, she has the right to allow or to refuse a secret ballot. So the opposition are complaining because Baleka Mbete is taking very long with this decision, but I think she's taking very long because she anticipates that the reasons that she gives will be taken to court. So she's probably getting very careful legal advice so that if it goes to court, the court will not strike down her decision because she's got some loose phraseology. Now, some people may still, if she says there's no secret ballot, which I think is likely, some people have indicated that they will still vote for the president to fall, and what will happen after that, maybe disciplinary action has been entered into against Makosi Khoza. Although what I find interesting is the way the Gauteng handled it was much less aggressive. They asked to speak to Mondli Gungubele, and it was done in a very mutually respectful manner, and he was listened to, and then he said he's agreed not to say anything in public anymore.
So if the ANC says its MPs must vote against the motion or face disciplinary action, are they not acting contrary to their constitutional duty?
Well, you know, Thabo Mbeki and Kgalema Motlanthe have said that when you become a member of parliament, your first loyalty is to the constitution. You've sworn to abide by the constitution, and you're not there for a political party. Now, when I was in Parliament, we didn't really think about an oath of office. One of the things that made me unhappy is that someone would come there as a minister or something like that and say, this is the legislation that I want to pass, and you were really expected to do that. And we didn't make reference to our consciences, we didn't make reference to our oath of office. Now, obviously, the situation then was not as serious as this. Although people did disagree, I wasn't there at the time of HIV, but at the time of Zimbabwe I also wasn't there. But I think people did disagree with these things, but they went along because they were not contrary to the constitution, although some of them did disagree with what the president was doing. They went along either because there was pressure or they were afraid to raise their voices. So it's not so simple, in that I always understood that you were bound by the ANC decision, and there was no situation of having a freedom of conscience and things like that. So the situation now seems to be that they are likely to discipline at least Makosi Khoza in the case of KZN, who are much more aggressive about it. You may find that different provinces take a different position, that they say in the case of Gauteng, look, Mondli Gungubele has been an activist for over 30 years and whatever it is, can't simply get rid of him over this, and we've got to create a space for people's conscience. I don't know. But I think that one of the things that becomes clear out of all of this is that people are aware that at a practical level, having Zuma lead a campaign in 2019 is going to damage the ANC. On the other hand, how do you, if the president is not prepared to go gracefully, how do you deal with this within the way Parliament is organised, where the ANC, he's the leader of the ANC, and the ANC insists that you can't vote against him with the opposition. So it's going to work out in an unsatisfactory way, one or other way. I personally think there's no doubt that there won't be a secret ballot. Secondly, there's very little doubt that the president will survive this.
Thank you, Professor. That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Krima Media's Polity about a secret ballot.